Animation is a labor of love, especially in the anime industry. With long unrelenting work hours and low pay, I often find it surprising to see that some people choose this career path, but I can understand why. Sometimes you have such a strong passion for what you do that you ignore the BS and continue to do what you love. Sometimes that love can be transferred into the animation itself. With the beautiful works of Kyoto Animation in Violet Evergarden and the epicness of Demon Slayer done by Ufotable, we could see these studios demonstrate their passion for the medium through the shows we consume. However, there is a recently popular studio on the block that has been handling two passion projects at once, Jujutsu Kaisen and Attack on Titan. That studio is Studio Mappa. However, with the recent controversy over AoT episode 65, a lot of people have questioned or downright attacked the studio and its staff due to the quote-unquote poor animation and the use of CG. There are a lot of other videos criticizing Mappa, but I don't want to add to that long list. Instead, I think Mappa's situation brings to light the many important issues that can arise in making anime, despite having a passionate and dedicated team. Hey everyone, it's Verasitus, and today let's talk about Studio Mappa and the production of anime by comparing their two current works, and we'll see how these factors can greatly affect the show. The three factors I will be talking about today are preparation, scheduling, and the work environment. However, before I start this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and if you didn't like the video, you can always easily unsub. Now let's get back on with the show. I think a lot of people can agree that Kaisen looks gorgeous while Attack on Titan looks pretty solid but not close to Kaisen's level, and that comes down to preparation. Before anime gets released on a weekly basis, months to years of work is already done before it even gets announced to air. According to an article that I found on Anime News Network, for an average TV series, each team will start with 2 months or more to complete each episode. After a few episodes, schedule creep starts to set in, and the start date will slip later and later. Some episodes will get 7 weeks, then 6. There are times where whole episodes are produced in as little as 4 to 5 weeks. With digital animation, it's getting easier to cover up the quick and shoddy animation with effects like lighting, mist, and different coloring, and CG that are cleverly repositioned and re-rendered from earlier episodes. So how does this statement relate to Studio Mappa's situation? Attack on Titan was suddenly dropped by Studio Wit in June, according to several forum posts and official news sources, and the first episode aired in December. That's only 5 months to produce an anime. On the other hand, from the very beginning, Kaisen was pre-planned even before The God of High School came out, according to this statement from the creators as you see on the screen. Meaning that production took place for over a year. Given the short amount of time to make AoT, the studio was forced to use CG. If they didn't, then it would cause a delay, which could interfere with other projects. Speaking of interfering with other projects, the scheduling of shows can also affect the animation quality. When you have a lot of shows currently in production for a deadline, it's going to be extremely rough to put out good quality. As I have said previously, Mappa is currently in full gear with Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen. However, they got other shows that they have deadlines to meet too. Some of their lesser known background projects include Zombieland Saga Revenge and Chainsaw Man. Some of you may be thinking, if they have so much work, why don't they just cancel a project? Especially since AoT is so popular and it's pretty much a cash cow. Sadly, things don't work that way in the business world because projects are bound to contracts, and canceling a project would cause a lawsuit and other various legal issues that no one wants to deal with. I don't exactly know why the executives at Mappa suddenly took on the massive show, but if I do know anything about business, it's probably for recognition and money. So overall, the staff at Mappa are just swamped with all these projects, and the sudden responsibility of AoT even causes more chaos. Lastly, I want to talk about the work environment of these studios, which is something that most creators don't usually talk about. Usually this factor is ignored because animators work in office environments and that's pretty much it, nothing really special. However, with today's circumstances, it is not possible, and not to diss on Japanese work culture, but they've been extremely rigid and have underdeveloped IP infrastructure in their businesses. Surprising considering this is the country known for great technological innovations. Don't believe me? Check out this article from the Washington Post. Back to the point, going from an office environment to working at home provides a lot of logistical issues that screw with the creative process. Getting feedback isn't as instantaneous as walking over to a cubicle, and sometimes your home has distractions that can disrupt your workflow. All in all, the current situation the world is in has made work life harder for the animation industry and pretty much every industry in general. After reading the script, I realized that it sounds like I'm bashing Mappa, but I truly think what they've done given the circumstances is actually quite admirable. Attack on Titan looks good to the point that it looks like any standard show visually wise, and if any other regular studio took the property, then I'm sure it would not even look half as good as it does now. Mappa has persevered through all the corporate bullshit and circumstances to make the show and do a good job at it. Why did they endure this? It's because the artists and staff love what they do, and if they didn't love it, then we would have had another X-Arm or Berserk 2016. In the end, if the plot is good and the visuals are decent, then it doesn't really matter. My message for those who harass the creators is this: having your favorite show is a privilege, not a right. If you still don't like the show, just stick to the manga, and if you want to criticize the creators, do it in a civil manner. Don't be a Karen. Anyways, this is Verasitus informing you the difficulties of making anime, and thank you Mappa for putting in the time to do a solid job of adapting Attack on Titan. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.